everyone, welcome back to my podcast, The Mind of an Interior Designer. Today I am joined by Alicia from the Emerald Terrace.
Hello, you okay?
Hello, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, can I just ask a dead quick question? Am I looking into this camera?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, okay, yeah. Hello.
hello. So I just want you to give a brief overview for anyone who doesn't know, which is weird if they don't know you basically, about who you are, what you do and why you're on the podcast.
Good question. So yeah, my name's Alicia. I am an interior blogger. I started my blog about 2 years ago now. And I've been predominantly doing it on Instagram, but I've got a blog as well. And over the last sort of year or so, it's sort of really taken off. So I post a lot about DIY hacks, interior style and tips, but my style's really, I would say, quite maximal. It's quite different. It's quite out there. And yeah, I do a lot of stuff with colours, neon lights, patterns, prints, and all sorts of things like that. And yeah, that's what I do.
So have you always been into that, or did it just happen accidentally?
Not really. Me and my boyfriend, my husband now, we had a flat in town that we were renting, and it was like, you would never recognise like me in it if you saw it. It was like dead. We wanted to feel like a dead Scandi vibe, so we had like grey couch, white walls, like black shelves. And then when we bought our house in 2018, we were kind of like, we can do whatever we want, because at the time I'd been renting for like 8 years, and you know what it's like, you can't put a shelf up, you can't do this. And I was like, do you know what, sod it, I'm just going to have fun with it and go for it. And it sort of went from there really. And I think me and Guy, my husband, were kind of like, we just want to push it and see what we can do, because at the end of the day, it's just paint. You can paint over it if it looks awful. And I think it started off as just like, we did like one dark wall and had a dark couch, and the rest was just like quite normal. But over time, our style is very similar. We see quirky things and things that are a bit different, and we both really gravitate towards those. And over time, the house has just accumulated more stuff and more stuff and more stuff. And now it's like just chocker with with loads of bits, with everything. But it's all sort of come together quite well. So I don't think I would necessarily say I'd planned to go down that route style-wise, but it's just sort of come together in that way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, how do you think it has? Because as you say, when you bought the flat, it was kind of like minimal, more so as what it is now. What do you think's made you develop that style?
Just the fact that I could, like I say, because we were like renting the flat, so you kind of have to be minimal because you can't do much in terms of like colour. And when we were buying furniture, we just bought like a cheap couch from IKEA. We knew we weren't staying there. And when, like I say, when we bought our house, we just thought, let's just have a play around with colours and different things like that. And because we are spending like real money on like a proper sofa, we were like, no, I don't want just something grey and like fabric. Let's go for green. Let's go for velvet. Let's just really like treat ourselves and be a bit experimental, bit bougie. Yeah,
bougie. I love that. So, did you only start your page when you actually bought the house? Did you have it when you had the flat, or did you start it then?
No, so the page grew up because I'd been saying for years I really would like to blog. I think I'm quite a creative person. I like to write, I like to photograph and style things, and I've been saying for years I want to do a blog, but I wouldn't really say like fashion is my thing or beauty is my thing, so I never really wanted to just do something for the sake of it. And then when I bought the house, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna blog about that. And originally the page was going to be more about, we bought the house in 2018, we get married in the 2019. The page is going to be more about like budgeting and saving and doing all this stuff on a budget. Yeah. But I think it just kind of gravitated to being a lot more interior-led, because when I started getting going with it, I just loved it so much. I never really would have said I had any sort of passion for interior before I bought that house, or any really? I mean, I've always liked it and appreciated a nice room, but I was never kind of like, interiors are my thing. Like, I love to do interiors, but like I say, when I could get my teeth into that project with our house, I realised that I enjoyed it so much, but also I like to think I'm quite good at it. I've got an eye for it.
I was going to say, considering you're not sure, like you have got a really big eye for it.
It sort of happened really, really naturally and really organically.
And accidentally.
But a happy accident now. I love doing it now. Absolutely love it.
So as it grew, would you say, since like, do you feel like people discovered you in lockdown? Because I find a lot of people have found in the past year it's just blew up. Was that for
100%
you?
100% lockdown, yeah. I think when lockdown started, since lockdown, I think my followings grew by about 25,000, which is amazing. Because I think, I don't know about yourself, but in lockdown I was spending a lot more time on my phone and like
you find too much
time. But I think a lot of people found myself and a lot of other accounts in that time too. So it's definitely grown from there. Yeah, I think that was been my big source of like moment when it kind of became a thing.
Yeah, and
rather
people
than
were
like
finding you.
just a little hobby that I was posting on once a week, you know.
Yeah, but these hobbies turn into something more. Like you are like working with like brands and things like on your page. So how did that come about? Was that just literally just because people were finding you in that?
Yeah, I mean, it started. People would like brands would reach out to me like to gift me, I don't know, like a tea light, and I would be over the moon.
No, I'm like that.
You know,
You get a proper buzz when the parcel comes. Don't you?
yeah, like so happy. And like I think just before lockdown, I had a collaboration with Made.com,
Oh,
and I
amazing.
like couldn't believe it. Like I was saying to like guy, I can't believe Made know who I am. Like it's insane.
It's fast.
And now some of the brands that I'm so lucky to be working with, again, every time I can't believe they know who I am. So I'm doing one at the minute with HomeSense. I've got one coming up for Christmas with Marks and Spencer. I've done ones for Very.co.uk, Tesco, Amazon. It's crazy. And I like I say, it's still every time I get the emails in my inbox, I'm like,
It's
how do you know who
That's
I am? That's amazing. Yeah.
No,
So-
I'm proper buzzing for you because there's nothing like a brand knowing who you are. Like there really
Definitely.
isn't.
And it's just really fun to like, because when you're working with the brand, 9 times out of 10, they've got a brief and like a, you know, a project or like a campaign they want to work on. So it's really fun to take those and put my own spin on it. And I really do enjoy doing those sort of like projects
Yeah.
for them rather than just doing it willy-nilly by myself.
Yeah, how do you find like the creativity and inspiration for these like brands that you work for? Where do you get it from? Just yourself or a mixture of things?
I say just myself, but it's not, is it? You absorb it all the time. I think
Yeah,
you'll be the same because you're very much on like interior Instagram. So many other accounts have got so many amazing stuff going on, like other content creators collaborations I'll see and think that's amazing. That will inspire me when I do the edits for mine or whatever. But yeah, I feel like it's just there, but obviously it comes from, you know, Pinterest, reading magazines,
Yeah.
looking at other people and just looking around you really.
yeah. Like you do get the idea yourself, but there's multiple sources
Oh
of
God,
that.
yeah, definitely. Well, I think when you're like me again, when you're a creative person, your head is just constantly chocker with like absorbing
Yeah.
all this stuff, and you don't like. I've never ever gone out looking for inspiration. I've never gone to think, oh, I'm going to go and look for inspiration for this. But you're absorbing it all the time. Every
Yeah.
time you go into a shop, every time you go to like one of my biggest inspirations is hotels, bars, restaurants.
Yeah,
I'm picking up, oh, I love that light. I love that they've done, you know, that bit of paneling there, for
Yeah.
example. And it just sort of stays hanging out in your mind until you think, well, actually, when you come in to do the next room or whatever,
yeah.
I love that. And then I'll add a bit of that and it
Yeah.
all comes together.
Do you think people are inspired by your page then, or hope to be?
I think so. I love it. I get messages quite often actually, like people send me pictures like, I've just done my living room in that green, or this paint that you recommended, and I love it so much. It's
There's
just
nothing
fab. And
better.
I always get messages as well, like people being like, oh, I just wouldn't mind like stepping in your head for like half an hour. What should I do here? Like I'll pay you for it. And I'm like, no, like don't pay me. I haven't got a clue.
I'll behave you
But
out.
I love doing it, and like I always get like, you know, my mum and stuff is always like, oh, will you help me like put this together? And my mum's style is so different to mine. She's very not necessarily minimal, but a lot more sort of pared back.
Yeah.
But I'll always say like, she was doing a kitchen recently and it's all like beiges and sage greens. It's lovely. And we seen this clock in HomeSense. It was massive. It was bright red. It was ridiculous actually. And I said, Mum, you should get that. It's going to look amazing. She was like, no, it doesn't go with anything. I said, just get it.
Yeah.
You can take it back. And now she's like, every time she walks back, I love it so much. I love it. So I think, yeah, that there's a bit of that as well.
Yeah, you'll be always like, now, listen to me. I know what
Yeah.
I'm doing. Remember
Yeah.
that red clock?
Do you know who I am? Yeah.
Well, you have a few like quirky bits in your home, especially like the neon light that you have.
Mm-hmm.
So what's like your like style, would you say? Like, do people think, oh God, why are you getting a neon light? Because I feel like a lot of times all these like creative little elements we have in our homes, people instantly think, oh God, why are you getting that? And then afterwards they're like, oh, actually, that looks unreal.
Yeah, well, funnily enough, like when we bought the house, we were telling like our parents like we're going to do brick walls and dark green. Everyone was like, no, I don't. And me and Guy were like, no, we like it, we're going to do it. And they were like, oh, well, I just wouldn't, I'd be careful. And now everyone's like, actually, it does look really
Looks
good. But
unreal.
I don't think I would never box myself into having like a style. But if I had to pick like a word, I would say like it's maximalist.
Yeah.
Like the neon light, I've just always wanted one. I don't know why or where it came from. Always wanted one, but they're so expensive.
No,
And
ridiculous.
we were going to ask for one for a wedding present. And my mum was like, don't, someone's got you. So just don't say anymore.
Stop it.
So anyway, 3-4 weeks after the wedding, I said, Mum, where's this neon light? She was like, oh, I forgot who said they were getting you it now, but obviously they haven't. So I was just like, oh
Stop,
my God.
ad fume.
Yeah, literally, I was gutted. But we ended up getting it ourselves. It's our wedding song, so it's quite special and it's nice. And the way that we've got it, it's dimmable, so you can have it on like full blast if you're having like a drink in the dining room, or like nice and low if you're just watching a film or something. I love it, and I think it's one of those pieces, it will be with me forever. And maybe when my style changes and I don't want a bright pink neon light in the living room, it might be in the hall or something, but it will always be sort of, it'll follow us around for the rest of our lives. 100%.
Oh, I
love
that.
it.
No, I like a piece that's close to your heart, though. You've got to have them pieces
Yeah,
in your
for
home,
sure.
haven't you?
Definitely.
Regardless of the trends that are going about, you've got to have something that's personal to you.
Well, that's one thing I think maybe I would say that my style quite aligns with, is I like things that are meaningful or sentimental, like collecting things that we've picked up when we've been like traveling or on holiday, or like things that have got like lyrics that are important to us or anything like that. I think I like to walk around and be like, oh, this reminds me of this time, or just to see what I mean. I think that's a big factor in my style too. I'm very much sentimental.
Yeah.
Some people would say I'm a hoarder. I'm a bit of a hoarder. Don't throw anything away.
That's other people's opinions.
It's none of their business. Yeah. I've got one room in the house that's like Monica from Friends' cupboard with all my.
We all have that.
There's no pictures of that online now. So.
I know we all have that space. Like when I'm putting stuff on Instagram, I'm like, oh my God, no, I need to tidy that. Like, people think I've got like this really stripped back, like everything's always clean, and it's 100% not. I'm Monica.
Yeah, like behind the camera's just like piles. Yeah, mine's the same.
Do you feel like though, with like social media and that though, people are losing that personal style? Because I'm finding like, I love your account because like it's so different. Like you're kind of losing that a bit. Do you feel like in Instagram where everyone's house is the same and everyone's buying the same things constantly? Do you feel like people need to go back to like finding their own like elements of personality? Yes
and no, because a lot of people say to me like, you know, oh, I could never sort of like do what you do. I just don't have that mindset. And a lot of people like, you know, my idea of hell would be a grey living room with a grey couch and grey walls, but some people really like that, and I think that's fine. And I think people don't necessarily.
We are judging.
It's gorgeous, honestly. No, seriously. No, but what I was going to say is like I love interiors that they make me so excited and happy.
Love that.
Some people don't. Like you might like football, and so you will. What do you like?
Podcasting.
Do you like podcasting? So people might like, you know, football, or some people like will love like fashion or whatever, and it's just not that big a deal to them, and that's cool. I think people shouldn't pressure themselves to like make a room look like this. That if they don't care, maybe some people like, you know, I live in jeans, t-shirts and a blazer and occasionally a jumper, because I couldn't be bothered thinking about an outfit, whereas some people would spend like hours like thinking, and that's fine. I think it's whatever works for you. You shouldn't feel a pressure to do like, you know, put so much time, effort, money into interiors if it doesn't make you happy, if you're not that bothered.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's okay.
Yeah, no, it's I love that point actually. But going back to that though, like if like you are into interiors and say you are sort of, I've got like a strip back home, maybe you've got a Jacob living space. What would give people like confidence? What do you think people need to like, how do you think people are going to get that confidence in interiors? Because like you picked out the red clock for your mum, she mightn't have necessarily gone for that. What would you think? Do people just need to go, do you know what? Yeah.
Well, actually, that's something, again, loads of people ask me like, oh, I just don't know where to start. I just don't know, like, you know, I'm a bit nervous to do this. And like, obviously, unless you're doing like serious structural work, it's all temporary. Like my mum could just put the clock up and gone, I don't like that, and took it back. No bother. You can paint a wall black and say, you know what, no, it's not for me, and paint it white again the next day. Yeah. And that's what I try and tell people. Like, it's not permanent. It's not like the be all and end all. You can try things out and decide a week later, like, oh no, it just doesn't work in this space, or actually I love it on that person's Instagram, but it's not very me. Change it. It's not, you know, it's not the be all. It's not that much. It doesn't need to be. It's not that pressure. Deep. It's not that deep. Yeah, just have a bit of fun, and you can change it.
Yeah, I feel like people do struggle to do that. Like, I know, like when I've had clients in the past, like you go, oh, we'll do that, and they're like, oh God, no. And I'm like, no, but you need to just, if you just go for it, and then at the end they're like, oh yeah, I can see how that's like brought together.
Absolutely. So I just say, yeah, just remember that you can go back if you
Yeah.
want to.
Literally just go
If you're not
for
knocking
it.
down walls or like building extensions.
No stress.
No stress.
No, I love that, and I feel like people need to be like more experimental in the home. So do you have any like go-to like shops or any DIYs that you would like go for people?
Again, shops is just totally depend. I always will say home sense just because it's so
Love that.
no, but just because like it's so random. But then my style is so random. Like I remember we went to Home Sense like 2 years ago, and there's a statue about this big of like that statue of Jesus that's in Brazil.
Yeah.
There's like a statue of that, and I said,
Was
Guy,
it that one?
Yeah. The hands had fell off and it was on sale.
Yeah,
Do you remember it?
Yeah,
I said to Guy, I freaking love this. Let's get it. It was like 60
Did
quid.
you buy it? Was you that?
Sadly not. I was like, let's get it. We'll bring it home. We put it in the garden. I said we can like put like a hat on it at Christmas. Like I think it'll be so funny. And Guy was like, you're ridiculous.
Stop
and
it.
the next day was like, nah, that'll be funny. Actually, that'll be cool. Let's go back and get it. And got someone else had bought it.
Stop it.
But yeah, I've gone off topic. Where was it we were talking about? Oh, shops. Home Sense. You just find random stuff. eBay is brilliant. I've just bought actually a unit on eBay that I've been upcycling. Just yeah, and again, Home Sense, eBay, secondhand, all this stuff. Don't have to spend a fortune. You don't have to like get super expensive stuff, but just try out like if people are nervous about. If people want to add like quirky and creative stuff to the home, like maybe don't start with like a mural. Maybe just start with like a little, ornament or like a funky candle holder and build it up like that.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny. Imagine just like a random flipping mural on the wall.
But some people think that like, oh, well, if I want to like use like embrace this style, I've got to go all in, and you haven't. Like just a couple of bit of like accessories or like an artwork. Start like that and like ease yourself in. It doesn't need to be a big like every colour on every wall with every pattern and print and texture.
Are you jumping on the Facebook Marketplace wagon then? Have you been joining in on that? Everyone on social
I am,
media.
but I have no success with it. I swear, it's a pain. Is this still available? And then maybe like 6 months later, like yes, I'm like, oh, don't want it now.
6 months later.
Do you know what I mean? So I found it to be a bit of a pain, but I do every now and then have a little bit of a browse. But I'm at the point with my like renovation now where like there's nothing left to do and there's no space for anything, and I keep seeing these things like we seen this amazing like record cabinet and it was so big and it was nowhere for it to go, and then we were like, well, what if we just move the couch? And we didn't know. We
Stop
can't.
it. That must be annoying. I would hate to get to like the end phase of like my home. I'd be like, oh my god, let's just start again because
Well, I thought I'd be like that, but I made up with myself because there's not much that I would change.
Yeah.
No, like nothing really.
So you're like happy and like, will that be a forever home, do you reckon, or not?
No. Well, maybe that's what I'll change now. No, definitely not. I mean, when we came to buy, it was all kind of like a bit of it wasn't something we'd necessarily spent a lot of time saving for. It all came about quite last minute. And our house was really cheap for what it is. We got this absolute steal on it. It's tiny. I love it. It's so cute for me, him and the dog. But I think in the future, I would like to do like something, a proper like gutting out renovation, start from absolute scratch. Like our like dream in life is to do like grand designs, but I think we'd kill each other before we got anywhere near there. But no, I think we'll be there for like another 2 or 3 years, and then I want to wait until I do move into that like quote unquote forever home. So I'd rather be there for longer, save up for longer, and then just find somewhere and stay there, but never say never, I suppose.
Yeah, do you reckon it'd be the same style as this? Or do you reckon you'd change it ever so slightly?
I think I'd change it quite a lot.
Really?
Because I think what's good about our house is because it's quite small. All the colours and the clashing works because it's just quite, it just does.
Yeah.
Whereas I think if I did what I did now on a large scale, it would be so ridiculous.
Behave, it wouldn't.
I don't know. I just kind of think like the feature walls and like it works because it's all. I don't know. Maybe it would depend on the house.
It's all close.
Yeah, I think I'd do similar. Like I'd still always have like my like quirky artworks, and like I say, the neon light will always be somewhere. I think maybe I would pare it back slightly. But I don't know. It depends. It would totally depend on the house. The house, I think, would sort of steer the direction of the design.
Yeah. A bit. So as well with your Instagram, you also said you had a blog.
Mm-hmm.
So did you start that before you started Instagram? Did you start that recently? How is blogging? Because I feel like, do people still like use blogs? Like, because it's very like, I feel TikTok now is 5 seconds and someone's bored. Do you know what I mean? Like, how are you finding that?
Well, no, I can vouch. I'm like too old to be on TikTok, but I'm obsessed
Oh,
on every night. I'm like that. Oh my god, what are the kids doing these days? the blog came about a year after the Instagram, and to be honest, I'm nowhere near as good on the blog as I am on social media. It's a lot, and I kind of got to a point a couple of months ago where I was just like churning crap out to get a post up, and it's just like it doesn't need to be, but it's quite good for me to have it from the back of the Instagram, because like you say, there's a lot of short form like videos and like quick content, but when you're doing what like we do and it's like tutorials and things, sometimes it's easy for us to just revert to like a proper post and a list. So I probably only post about once a month now. But when I do, it's always something that's been like requested, or like if I've got something I want to say. Like I did one recently, like when it was the 3-year anniversary of buying our house, that like everything I've learned, because that's something I get asked about all the time. So rather than just putting things on regularly to churn it out, I only ever sort of do it if I've got like a good couple of 100 words that need to go on paper.
Yeah, so it's not feels as forced. Because I do feel like that even with like Instagram posts and things like that, sometimes you feel pressure. Like if I haven't posted for a month, I'm like, oh my God, I've not posted for a month. Like, how am I going to find
an idea? A month. I'm like, after a day, I'm like,
stop
you feel it. But no, I've got better at that now. I used to just kind of like I say, like, shit.
You can't do it.
Shit. I need to get a post on, but now I'm kind of like, no, I only really, I post less, but with more like when I've got things to say, rather than just like, you know, oh God, get a picture of that lamp up quick because I haven't done anything. So
do you feel pressure to do it, or do you feel better now?
I go through phases because like, well, it's hard to explain, and again, it's something that you'll understand. Like sometimes you're on fire when it comes to like ideas. Your house is spotless. You've got all this new stuff, and it's like
momentum.
Yeah, bam, bam. But like the next few weeks, I've got so much planned. I've had so many ideas and stuff, and that feels great. And then like for example, the last 2 weeks, I've been like, you would die if you saw my house, because I've been getting my bathroom done. So there's like just crap everywhere. I've had nothing to post, and I've felt like stressed myself out, like thinking of things to post, but I've kind of got better at just saying, you know what, if you've nothing to say, you've nothing to say. And maybe like my Instagram growth for that week, those couple of weeks, won't be as good as it normally is, but it doesn't really matter. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather wait and post things that I think are valuable.
Yeah.
To me or to other people, you know.
It is hard though, balancing that sort of opinion on it, because like I feel like for weeks on end I'm like trying to find an idea, don't have one, and then I like feel the pressure where like you look on your analytics and they're like that, and I'm like, oh my God, everyone hates me, like no one's following
Well, that's
me.
the thing, those analytics are just horrible, because you look and it's like, today 50 people followed you and 40 people unfollowed you, and you're
I
like,
know.
Why?
I'd rather just didn't tell me.
Yeah, just I don't want to know.
I
for
hate
sure.
that. Why did he tell me such big numbers follow me, but then 40 people hate me? Like, I don't need to know that today.
Who did that and why? Yeah, because you do. You're like, oh my God. But it's funny, like, because I got to a point a few months ago that I was like, I've only got like 6-7 rooms in this house. I'm like, surely people are, but so I was okay, like did a big story, like, so I'm gonna try and like branch out and do a bit more like lifestyle. I know everyone must be bored of pictures of my living room, and literally hundreds of people were like, but this is what we like. We follow you because we just like seeing like how you style your home. And I think you can get so in your head thinking, oh God, I need to like provide this and this, and everyone that follows you because they like you, not them 40 people a day or whatever a week that are like unfollowing. But you know, you've just got to be authentic. And like I said to you before, I'm not bothered about like fashion, so why would I start like forcing myself to create content about that when it's not really my thing? It's me doing a fashion reel like next week, but
I'll be like, you said on the podcast.
But you know what I mean? I think people can like overthink it so much, and I've definitely been down that road with Instagram. It's so, there is a pressure in some ways that you just put on yourself. There doesn't need to be. And I find that my account performs the best and I get the best numbers and growth and all this stuff that we're talking about when I just be cool and just do, you know, what, like,
do you feel like it's when
naturally.
You don't care?
Yeah.
I put a post up that I've just done dead last minute because I think, oh, do you know, I'll just throw that up, and it does dead well. I'm like, oh my God. So I took 7 years to take that other post that got like 2 likes, and the one I've just randomly put up everyone
it's
loves.
Always the way, isn't it? It's always the way.
It's so annoying. I'm like, how's this just happened?
And that's the thing, after, you know, see, I've thought about it, and I see a lot of other like content creators and influencers talk about it. I didn't mean like content creators like that.
No, you never know what to label it to.
I mean, I hate when people say like, oh, you're an influencer. I'm like, I think the word influencer's got such negative connotations, and I think I wish people know that it is really hard work, and it takes a lot of skill and talent. And I'm not saying that it's the hardest or the most important job in the world, of course it's not, but like on my blog I style, photograph, take videos, edit everything myself, write everything myself, do all my outreach to brands, all my admin, my own account, everything. So it's a lot more than just like, people always say like, oh, it's so cool, like you must get all this stuff for free, and I'm like, it's not free.
Yeah.
I have worked for like
Yeah.
hours and hours and that, but
Like a full
yeah.
day.
More
Like I
than.
seen a girl on Instagram because someone messaged her because she was like, oh, like I'm dead stressed out with this, that and the other. And then someone messaged her and put, stressed out, get a real job. And it's like, oh, that's so annoying, because it's like, you don't understand, like you've had to, like say for example, in your living space, you've got a brand deal with, like when you got it with Made, you've had to tidy your whole living room, then you've got to take the picture, then you've got to do the admin like surrounding that, then you've got to make sure that they're okay with the photograph, and then you've got to build it like a friendship with the brand. Like everything that goes on for that one picture is like a week's work. Like,
Yeah, and I don't think people realise, like I'm working with a brand at the minute that we started conversations in April, and it's been no one, like it's nothing's like gone wrong, but just to like sort logistics out. And what I like feel like telling people as well is like, when I'm doing like brand work, yeah, it takes, you know, days and days and days, and that's what you get paid for, which is fantastic. But everything else that I do on there, like organically, is my own. No one's paying me to do that. No one's, you know, and I'm not complaining because I absolutely love it. But I just wish that people would understand that it's a lot more difficult than, and most people do. Most people are really great about it. But I think, like I said before, I think a lot of people hear the word influencer and think like, oh, you know, she's just selling teeth whitening kits and stuff, and it's like, we're not. Like it is a job, and I think it's, you know, there's some people that I follow that are doing it like as a full-time job, and I think they're doing amazing. Like the content they produce is unbelievable. It's so creative. It's so like well shot and styled, and it's fantastic. And from brands' perspectives, they get so much out of those deals.
Oh, 100%, it's growing. It just
works really well for
growing.
everybody, because
Yeah.
you get the content, you get the, you know, it's fantastic.
And I enjoy watching other people as well. Like, as you said, people who are doing it full time. Like, I'm jealous. Like, that's the dream. Do you know what I mean? Because, like, the time more than anything, like, as you said, you don't realise the time that goes into it. And if, like, for me, I'm balancing so many things, you're probably the same. Like, finding the time to slot all that in with all the rest of your life is difficult. And people don't realise that. Like, they just go, oh, your little hobby. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that little hobby that takes, like, just my whole life away.
Yeah.
Like, but again, not that I'm complaining, because I absolutely love it. But I wish people would have more of a positive aspect on it, because
Absolutely.
it's forever growing, and I think it will continue to grow, and you're probably the same. Like, your brands will grow, like you'll just grow your account and things like
Hopefully,
that.
Yeah, that's the thing. It hit the nail on the head there. Like, no one's complaining. Like, I could stop doing it tomorrow if I wanted to, and that's fine. Like, I do genuinely love it.
Yeah.
But I just wish that people would be more positive about the whole thing sometimes.
Yeah, because people have, you've got to realise, like, when with your page and with my page, like, I've started from zero, like everyone else. I've worked hard in my own personal time whilst everyone's been doing what they want to do. I've done what I want to do, and this is what I want to do and what you want to do. And like, I don't know, that growth for me is personal to me, and that makes me happy. And I've started with £0, 0 pence doing it. So if I've made something of that, then people need to just have more of a positive spin on it.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
absolutely.
mean? It'd be like you getting a promotion in work. No one goes, oh, that's nice, yeah, I love a promotion.
Little hobby,
Do you know what I
No,
mean?
for sure. Like, it's funny. My mum is so supportive. She totally gets it. Like, when I like explain to my dad like what I do, and like, oh, I've got this like deal with so and so. My dad's like, so let's just get this straight. You're like Gemma Collins then for interiors, and I'm like, I wish I was like Gemma Collins for interiors. I absolutely love Gemma Collins, but I'm like,
meme page and everything.
yeah. It's easy to just go like, yeah, Dad, that's exactly what it is, because obviously his understanding of Gemma Collins. Is just, I love Gemma. I wish I was Gemma.
yeah, you know, borderline your dad thinks you are anyway.
I know, yeah, close enough.
No, that's so funny. I feel like obviously different age groups. Then again, actually in saying that, you know what's that funny? You know, on my Instagram page, like, you know where you can go in the analytics, my like age group's like 40 plus, like my best
most of
age
mine
group.
are,
Isn't that mad? I'm like, oh yeah, I definitely am like more my audience like 20s, and then when I went on mine, I was like, oh my god, like it's mad, isn't
Mine's
it?
a lot older.
Not that I'm complaining, I absolutely love that, by the way, because like my mum and dad definitely understand it more, and I think now that I'm doing more things on socials and they're seeing it, I think they understand it. But I feel like still some of the older generation don't understand it. So it's nice to be like educating them, isn't it? Really,
definitely. Because it's just the new media now, isn't it? It's the, people aren't really reading magazines anymore or anywhere near like they used to. And I think about my personal use of Instagram. I can't tell you how many times I've seen like a blogger like, oh, look at this jumper from H&M, like buy it, it's bought.
I'm awful for
Whereas
it.
I can't tell you the last time that I had a magazine and went, oh yeah, I'll go online and buy that. But it is. You can see why it's taken off and why it's beneficial for everyone.
It's much quicker as well, isn't it? Because one tap and it's in my basket. Like I am really bad for it as well. Like magazines, I'm not going to be.
You've got to think about it. I got a new phone like 2 weeks ago, and they were like, "Do you want to set up Apple Pay?" And I was like, "No."
Oh,
because that's my way to double click, just spending. Oh,
I've had to take that off because I'm like, if I'm being good, I'm like, I've only got my phone on me, I haven't got my card, so I can't. So got me splashing out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Although Instagram's bad because them links I click like. Do you know what another thing? Do you use affiliate links?
Yeah.
Can we just talk about that? Because I feel like, again, talking about negative spin on them, people have such a negative spin on affiliate links and will refuse to buy from affiliates. And I just want to say that needs to stop because I will buy through affiliates because I know that 1p, let me, like, do you know what I mean?
Literally 1p.
It's literally 1p. Can we talk about this? That 1p is going to someone other than that brand, which sounds awful, but I think H&M's a multi-million-pound business. They don't need that penny. But your 30 people who buy that for 1 penny, that 30p could make a world bit of difference to that influencer.
Yeah, and I think people think as well, like, that affiliate links mean that they're getting charged more to buy it through you, and it's just not that at all. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think there's more. But again, I think there's a lot of people that have got these negative connotations. I'd say now more than ever, there's more and more people that are more understanding and like supportive of it. But you're always going to sort of have like that one, like, I don't know, you see now, like, I only ever like browsed it a few weeks ago and I was horrified. Have you seen that, like, Tattle Life?
Yeah.
It's awful.
Have you got anything on there about you?
I did search. No, but there's nothing yet, so please no.
Please no.
But the horrible things that people say about these people, and I just think, like, it's just meant, like, it's crazy to me.
Yeah. I don't know how people, like, have the time to say horrible things, like, saying nice things, like, probably people have like it's hard to find.
And that's the thing, isn't it? When you're anybody, whether you're like in the public eye as a celebrity, whether you're on like Instagram as an influencer content creator, like, there's gonna be hundreds and thousands of people that are like, oh God, I she's not for me. I don't like her. I don't like her style, whatever. And that's absolutely fine. Like, just don't follow them.
Yeah.
The fact that like you go your way to like slander people
and local people as well. Can we talk about that? Like, literally, I go on and I just I'm horrified as much as you. Like, I don't know how people have the time to come up with the things they do as well. Like,
I wish I had the time.
I know, same.
Not that I'd be doing that. Not that I'd be doing that with it.
No, I know.
But I've not. But like I say, I had a little like look because someone was talking about it, and I was just like, oh my God. Search myself, touch wood, nothing was there. But I've made a pact to just never go on again because I think if I saw something about myself, I would be devastated.
Yeah. It's like affecting people's mental health though, because look at Mrs. Hinch. Like, I think people are so jealous of her, like, of anyone in general, but like the stuff that she, like, you have to process that. Like, everyone's a human being at the end of the day.
Oh
like,
my God, yeah.
Regardless, like, at the end of the day, so say if what I was doing now was like a few years ago when I was a magazine writer, but doing home, for example, because it's just the same, it's just online. Like, imagine like writing something about someone who's writing a magazine article. It's just weird. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like in the same format. It's just online for the public to see, which I find strange. Like, I don't know, but that's each their own. You've actually featured in magazines though, haven't you?
A couple.
Speaking of which.
Yeah. A couple. I did Stylist magazine in the summer, which was really good.
So what did you do in that?
I've got a feature called the Curiosity Academy, and it's basically, you know, it's a range of all sorts of different things. So they'll speak to experts. I don't know why I never know what to call
you
myself.
Are an expert.
I'm an expert, but about, like, you know, some of them are doing like recipes or, you know, how to organize this or whatever. And I did mine because we built our own like outdoor seating at the beginning of the year. So we did like a bit of an article on that, showing people how we did that, what we used. So yeah, that was really good.
And you also, did you get shortlisted for an Amara Award?
You've been shortlisted for that award.
Love
yeah.
that. What category was that for?
Best use of Instagram this year, and I was best newcomer last year.
Did you win?
No, I just shortlisted, so hopefully if you're listening, next year.
Next year, please, everyone sign that.
Yeah. And then I was in apartment therapy a lot earlier this year, and that was amazing for my Instagram growth.
Oh, so what's that? What is that?
Oh, go on it. It's just it's unbelievable. It's a website. It's just loads of interior stuff, but they do like a real homes feature, and some of the properties that they've got on there are just
really
fabulous. But
I'm gonna be like that in a minute. Looking at it.
They asked me if I would go on it. I could never reply to an email fast. I was like, yes, here's like
Stop
1,000
it.
pictures. Yeah, that was really good, really, really good.
So did you just have to send pictures in and just like?
Yeah, and they had like a Q&A sort of like, who lives in your house, what do you use it for, like what's your favourite thing about it, what's the house's history and things like that. So it's quite, and it was good to do that obviously for me and my property, but I love reading everyone else's as well. It's just so interesting.
I love being nosy.
Yeah,
and I think that's what Instagram's for as well, though, don't you? Like, love having a bit of a nose at people's houses.
Oh
Not in a
my
horrible
God,
way.
yeah.
Like, ooh, good.
Yeah,
You know
no,
what I mean?
definitely. And I think, like I say, like looping back into what you were saying about like the all grey stuff, it's not my style, but I can definitely appreciate it. I can see, it's like, there's loads of accounts that I follow that I wouldn't decorate my house like that, but it looks absolutely fabulous for them. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, like you couldn't live in it. I do that. Like, I look at so many accounts and I'm like, oh my God, that's stunning. I couldn't live in it, but I admire like everything you've done.
And I love that when you can like see people's personalities in it as well. I think you can see a lot of that too, and I love to see that. I love when you can say that's it, that's definitely hers, or anything like that.
Like proper character to it.
Yeah, which is great.
Oh, I love that. So would you give any advice to anyone who's maybe starting like their own home and they want to start an Instagram? What would you say to them if you had any advice?
I'm trying to think.
A nice way to say.
No, it's not even like a nice way of saying it. It's I do get asked like, oh, you got tips on like growing and stuff like that, and I don't really, to be honest. When I first started, I was doing the whole like, following and unfollowing, trying to get followers and stuff. This is like when I very, very, very first started doing it like years and years ago, and none of that stuff works. But I think lockdown was helpful. I wouldn't wish another one of those on anybody.
Yeah, but I know what you mean.
That was really good. But I think for me, I've seen like a marked difference in like my engagement and all my metrics and stuff like that. The more that I'm like just coming on stories, chatting away about my day, talking about the dog, what I've had for tea.
Yeah.
And whenever I say to people, they're like, oh no, I don't want to come on stories and talk. But if you think about it, like all the people that I follow them because like, yeah, they've got like gorgeous outfits or like fab makeup and stuff. But I love seeing people just like chatting away.
Yeah.
Just about anything.
Like you sort of get involved in other people's lives that you don't even know, like strangers. Like
it's like a reality show, isn't it? In some ways, like constantly, and you're up to date. And I think it's so lovely. Like people message me or like, oh, how's Otis? Who's my dog? Like, and I think it's just so nice that people care and like, it's just lovely.
And I think as well, when people message you, they message you like weeks later that something's happened, and they're like, oh, how did that go? And I was like, oh my God, how did you remember that? Yeah. Like, it's so mad. It's like,
lovely.
It's like a family of followers, and that's what you're saying about like bringing your face on there. It's that authenticity. Like, I don't think follow for follow works. I was like you when I first started years ago. That was kind of like the thing to do.
Yeah.
But now it's like I could not care less. Like, I'm grateful for the followers, but like the authenticity's more important because like I want people to follow me for me, regardless if I post once a week or once every 3 months. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think you've got that as well, where people, as you say, want to know about your dog and what you've had for your tea, and it's starting to become more that, as you say, from lockdown. Would you say?
Definitely. Because I think in lockdown, that's what I like to watch. So that's what I think about. Like, if I see other content creators doing something, even if it's in a niche that's totally different to mine, what was it that I liked about that? Why did I like it? And think about how I can maybe bring some of that to my own work.
No, I love that. So at the end of the podcast, you have a little segment, I'm sure you know. So a guilty pleasure and something that's a holy show. So I want you to tell me something that you shouldn't like, but you do, and something that like you're totally against, but you're not allowed to say Jacob's grey living space.
Something I shouldn't like. God, loads. I'm like a magpie. I'm drawn to tat. Like, just love accumulating tat. I love that.
Where from would you say? Like
everywhere.
Like are you a charity shopper or like
sometimes something I want to go back in? Like I used to all the time. Me and Guy used to like fly around like antiques places and stuff, and I loved all that. So need to get back into that. It's just something that I haven't done again since lockdown. And the other thing is plants. It's not like a guilty pleasure because they're amazing, but I don't need another one. I've got like 50.
But
I think I'm on 50 at the minute. But
50? Are they all real?
Probably, yeah. Probably more.
I've not got one real plant. I've got absolutely no time to be looking after
Oh my God,
plants.
I've got so many. But then if I go to a shop, I'm like, yeah, I get that. Or there's a website called Patch Plants that I shop on all the time. And when I get an email off them, like, there's no in, I'm like, oh my God, I'll go and get it.
How do you manage to look after that many plants? Do they all need water at the same time? Like, I've not got a clue with plants. I'm not gonna lie.
Don't be wrong. Some of them, there's one or two at the minute that are like dying out that I'm devastated about. But there's an app, I think it's called Planter, and when you buy a plant, you put it into the app, and it'll pop up if your plant needs watering every day. Say your cheese plant needs watering now, or like it will tell you like different things, like it's time to like repot, or so that's really, really good.
That's boss. I did not know.
And when you practice with it, you kind of, there's stuff now that I know from looking at the plant, like that one's fine, that one.
You're all right, Jay, Sophie plants. We
know,
haven't put the ones that are, in the shot.
See, this one's doing really, really well. But yeah, it's just things like that. So yeah, plants don't need any more. Will I buy more? Yes, definitely.
Well, if it's a guilty pleasure, you have to. It's like the rule, isn't it?
I've got this thing as well where I'm like, I feel like sly on them if I leave them. Well, that's what I tell myself to like convince myself to buy
FOMO
it.
with your plants.
Yeah, if there's like one looking like quite sad and being cute.
Stop it.
They do this thing in B&Q where they like sell all the like plants that are like on the last legs for like a £4.
No,
They do, and they're at B&Q in Edgeley, and they're like literally £4, £5, and I'm like leaving like that every week, and guys like,
Stop
no.
it. Like adopting all these plants.
Yeah. I feel so sorry for them.
You'll have about 70 next week then.
I will.
Love that. So what is your holy show? Like something like absolutely just no way.
I can't stand, and again, sorry, can't stand an overhead light. I hate overhead lights.
Oh, really?
That's my holy show.
Why?
Just hate them.
There must be a reason.
That's on it. My mum always hated them. I've obviously got them, but I would never dare switch them on.
Stop it.
Like, they've got one in the living room, never been on. I just like lamps and like ambience and stuff. I just won't ever.
You're like the cozy vibes.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like that sometimes, even with like spotlights in houses. Like, I mean, to be fair, we've got spotlights in our kitchen. I don't know why, I just can't stand them. I feel like I'm in like a movie. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like in here, like a podcast vibe, but in my house all the time, 24/7. Like, it's too much.
Your kitchen, to be fair, no, I tell a lie. I've got some in my kitchen that obviously you need to use because you need to see.
I know, but
and I've got like a
much.
feature one in my dining room that goes on, but the bulb's like low.
Yeah, like a warm light as opposed to a cold.
Yeah, so like a cold overhead light.
Yeah.
I just can't. I just don't like it.
Well, I need to do my little. I mean, I have about 1 million segments at the end of this podcast, but we have one where we ask, obviously, an audience question. So for all you viewers at home, if you don't already know, you can follow me on Instagram and put in your questions for when we have a podcast guest. So let's see who has messaged. Okay, I like this one. I feel like it's suitable for what we've done. So Laura said, what is your least favourite thing about Instagram? And also, whilst we're on the topic, we'll do a favourite. So what's your least and favourite thing about Instagram? I know my least favourite thing. It's that flipping
Probably that
algorithm.
thing that tells you who's unfollowed you. Yeah, that's horrible.
I don't need that reminder this morning.
I know, literally. Stop telling me. Least favourite thing. There's a few, yeah. Like I think, yeah, analytics and insights are good to see what's working, but like I don't think it's good to see all these people have unfollowed you. Or I don't think that's good. I don't like that. The algorithm, and I know people are like, oh, is it a thing? Is it not a thing? Like, I think it definitely is, because
100%.
sometimes I'll put something else and I know it's a gorgeous photo, or like it's some, and it'll just flop. And then, like you say, there'll be something I've just like gone and uploaded, and it's like, I did one, never ever forget. I did one about 9 months ago, and I was literally like on my way out to go for tea, took a picture of like the telly, and I'd said something like, oh, I know it's not the done thing to show your telly on Instagram, but and I got back like 6,000 likes.
Stop it.
Like, what on earth? I didn't have a hashtag on there, nothing, because I was that up the wall trying to get out the house, and I'll never know to this day why it did so well. Yeah, but it just did. So the algorithms, it's frustrating. It can be frustrating because, like I say, you put too much work into stuff and it's like doesn't really get seen. But I also hate when people get, and myself as included, that when you get caught up in it. And I had a really interesting conversation with a follower a few months ago about it, and she had said, it's quite disheartening when you see someone who's saying, no one's seen this post, and she's like, but if I've seen it and I've liked it and I've engaged with it, it makes me as a follower feel a bit like, oh well, am I not important? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think Instagram, the negative is it can become very like, you can stress yourself out with numbers and things like that. I think while they are really good to see what's resonating with your audience, and obviously from like working with brands, they want to see your engagement and stuff like this. I think it can be all consuming, and I think it can sometimes stifle like your creativity, because you think, well, last time I posted this room, it didn't do that well, so shall I post it again, even if you really want to?
Yeah, it does get you a bit disheartened.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. And I like that you said that about your follower. Like, I get that. Like, I value anyone who likes my photo. I think, oh my God, you've gone out your way, even just to double tap. I get that. But I think what you like, you've got 30,000 followers. You must think, well, why is 30,000 people not at least acknowledged? Because I know for a fact, them 30,000 haven't seen it. But then on the other hand, I think, well, the amount of people I follow, I think, oh, I haven't seen her post for ages, but they have. It just hasn't shown on my feed.
Well,
so
I've seen something that I thought was really, really good. And it was a small business post in it, so it's similar but not the same. And it was like, don't be like disheartened if you only get like, 30 likes, for example, because imagine 30 people in real life coming up and saying like, that's gorgeous. You would be over the moon.
Exactly.
So that you've got to really, really value that. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think, not get caught up in
I
it.
really like that.
That's lovely, isn't it?
I feel better about that now, because I feel like when I put like a merch thing up and it doesn't get that much now, I'm thinking, actually, if all them customers came in and complimented it, I'd be like, oh, I like that.
Yeah. You'd be over the moon.
That's actually very
well.
I like that. I'm going to think of that now. That's like my forward thing. So what would you say your best thing about Instagram is? What's your favourite thing?
It's dead cliche, I'm sure, but honestly, like, I can't tell you how many friends I've made through it. People that I've still not met, but there's like loads of accounts that I like sort of got chatting to, and now like we like voice note each other on WhatsApp like all the time, like really,
like that.
and it's great. And then like I say, just the people who check in, and I've had it before, but like if I've not posted in a couple of days, people will message me like, hey, just checking everything's okay, and that is so lovely. So the people on it are just great. Really, really great.
I like that. For me, I feel like it's probably the fact that I get to show people how enthusiastic and how much love I have for interior design.
Definitely.
And like, I feel like it's amazing that now I get to like, probably when I was like in school or something, this probably would have been like so far-fetched. Like, I would never have dreamed of doing all these things. So I feel like from that, Instagram's just been an amazing platform to, you're probably the same, just do all these different avenues in life.
Absolutely.
You probably
and
wouldn't have
opportunities
realised.
that you'd never, how else would you get? The opportunity. Like we wouldn't be here chatting to each other about something that we're both so like passionate about, if it wasn't to have that connection. And I love I like discovering other stuff all the time on there. Like it's so great for me, and like my creativity and stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I absolutely love that. Well, thanks so much for being on the podcast.
That's flown by. I've just looked at it.
No, I know. It doesn't it like honestly go so quick, but I feel like we're the type to just like chat here.
I'll be it's tomorrow morning.
Well, you can follow Alicia over on Instagram at the Emerald Terrace, and obviously what she spoke about magazine articles, you can check them out online as well. But thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you on next episode.